Have you ever tried to fix something in your forehand or backhand technique, but as soon as you get into a match, you immediately go back to your old habits? This is incredibly common. In fact, it's quite rare that this works because players and even coaches do not use progressions. There's simply no way you will make a big change without quality progressions. Hi, my name is Jeremy Mulfay. I'm with Fundamental Tennis. If you enjoy this video, please like, subscribe, click that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. I'm about to show you progressions I use on the court with my players that help them improve whatever it is that we're working on, again with their forehand or backhand ground stroke. These progressions will certainly help you to make whatever you're working on a true habit. In this first progression, it's not going to be the most exciting progression, however, it's definitely an important progression. We are going to be doing some shadow swings or practice swings where there's no ball involved, of course. You could do this in the living room or in front of a mirror or on the tennis court, wherever you like, as long as you have room. Now, before I tell you exactly what to do when you do these specific shadow swings, I'd like to say that it's really important that you video yourself doing the shadow swings so that when you do the other progressions, that each progression will of course get more challenging, you're not practicing the wrong stuff. You're not creating bad habits. So again, video yourself, and it's important of course to know exactly how it should look when you watch yourself doing the practice swing. For example, if I'm working on having my elbow high, I need to know exactly how high my elbow should be. So you need to have some awareness of how it should look and how it should feel. So video yourself during this progression. What I'd like you to do with these shadow swings is you're simply going to do some shadow swings while maintaining racket head speed. So notice I'm not decelerating, I'm not swinging really fast, okay? After you've done a few of those, next I'd like you to do what I call just a 10 to 20 second practice swing. Players that I've done this with do not like it, but I found it to be very beneficial. So when you do a practice swing, the whole thing from beginning to end should last 10 to 20 seconds or so. I'm really focused on how it feels, and I'm really focused, I'm visualizing how it should look. So whether you want to think of Federer or Nadal or your favorite player, visualize exactly how it should look along with that kinesthetic feel. How does it feel doing that new move that you're working on with your forehand or backhand? Now, the next thing is you're going to do some practice swings with your eyes closed. Again, you should not be swinging very fast here. Go at your own pace, okay? I recommend maintaining racket head speed or maybe a slight acceleration. So doing some practice swings with my eyes closed to focus on that kinesthetic feel. I want to feel what it's like without having to look at my hand or look at whatever it is to make sure I'm doing it right. Okay, so you can do some reps with the eyes closed. Again, so quick summary, it's really important you video yourself in these practice swings to make sure you're doing it correctly. As I tell my players, if you can't do it without a ball, you definitely won't do it with the ball. Now, it's also important, as I said, to visualize exactly what you're trying to do with the stroke technique, and again, focus on how it feels. For the rest of the progressions, it's ideal if you have a partner or coach to help you. You could also use the ball machine or the wall if you don't have someone to help you. As you can see, I'm out of my environmental habit because I'm facing the curtain. I'm not focused on getting the ball in the court. That's why I am facing the curtain, and there's no worry about getting in position for the ball because my partner's dropping the ball for me, so I can focus solely on whatever it is I'm working on. Here's one of my favorite progressions. I'm inside the service line facing the court and my partner is dropping the ball for me again. I'm using an unstrung racket head, so there's no strings in my racket. The purpose of this is to help me to focus just on the technique, help me to be performance oriented as opposed to result oriented. I'm now behind the service line. I'm still using the unstrung racket, and my partner though is not dropping the ball for me any longer. My partner's on the other side of the net. She is hand tossing me the ball. She's hand tossing the ball to me underhand, and she's giving the ball right in my strike zone, so I don't have to worry much about movement, although it's certainly a little more challenging than before because we now have much more distance between us. Here is the first progression in which you have your strung racket and you're facing the court. Make sure to stay disciplined with your technical focus and keep a slow swing speed as each progression becomes more realistic, therefore more difficult to keep the correct technique. My partner is still underhand tossing me the ball from inside the service line on the other side of the net. This time the ball is being tossed away from me, so now I have to move to the ball for the first time. Make sure to visualize the technique you want to accomplish. Also, it's important to note that your number one objective is having the right technique, so don't worry about making errors just yet. Here's a more exciting progression. We're finally going to rally from the service line, hitting back to each other and keeping the ball in play. Remember, if you want to get better, you've got to be willing to focus on your technique, even if it means you'll make more errors initially. Now we are still rallying at a slow tempo down the middle of the court. We have backed up to halfway between the service line and the baseline. If at any point you start to feel the technique break down, then I definitely recommend to go back to the previous progression. Now we're rallying behind the baseline, and you want to find a swing speed that allows you to maintain your new technique. Try to do your best to not let your old habits creep back in. In this progression, we have some targets here at the ad side corner of the court, and I find that players, when they have a specific target, they tend to break down in their technique. So I wanted to have a target progression in this video, and I'm going to demonstrate doing this by myself for those of you who don't have the luxury of having a partner. However, ideally you receive the ball from someone else. So you're just simply going to drop the ball and try to hit as close as you can to your target while maintaining your technique that you're working on. Okay? And the last one here. You can even give yourself a little bit of pressure by having a competition with yourself. Very simple drill. See how many you can get out of 10 in which you hit your target. You can of course make your target bigger than that. It's not real easy to hit those cones there. And say you get 5 out of 10 that hit your target. Try to beat that record, and you have to maintain the technique. As I said many times, video yourself in this progression as well. Keep in mind that each progression will be more challenging and more realistic. Each progression, you will slowly increase your swing speed and the distance between you and your partner whom is sending you the ball. After that target progression, the next progression is to drop start and play out the point. Meaning, instead of serving to start the point, you start the point with feeding the ball in with your forehand. Next would be to play a practice match with serves, and lastly, test out your new technique in a tournament or league match. If you can maintain your technique under the pressure of a match, then you know you have mastered that technique. Now I'd like to tell you the 6 stages of learning that I have created based on my experience of playing and coaching, so that you can get a feel for what stage you are at in your development. Stage 1 is you go from not knowing what you're doing wrong to understanding it, however you can't do it just yet. Stage 2 is you can sometimes do it, but only when thinking about it. Stage 3, you can always do it, but only when thinking about it. Stage 4, you can sometimes do it without even thinking about it. Stage 5 is you can always do it without even thinking about it, but it breaks down under pressure. The 6th and final stage is you know you have mastered the technique, and you made it a habit when you can do it without thinking during pressure situations. To make a change to a stroke, you need to video yourself. Oftentimes what you feel like you're doing is completely different than what you're actually doing, and the video will show if that is true or not. You also need progressions as well as patience, discipline, and the awareness of if you're doing the technique right or not. You must also have a clear understanding of what exactly you're working on. I also think it's really important to exaggerate whatever it is you're working on, because to get rid of a habit, you often have to kind of do the opposite of what you had done before. So exaggeration is key. For example, if you're trying to make your backswing smaller on the forehand, you gotta feel like this is your backswing, and oftentimes this is actually where your backswing is. So exaggeration, again, is important to break that bad habit that you have. So thank you so much for watching. Once again, it's so important to use progressions. In my experience in teaching and watching other players play tennis, there's no doubt that if you go on the court and you work on getting your elbow up or extension out after contact or a new grip or loosening the grip or different stance, whatever it is you're working on, you're not going to be able to go out and rally from the baseline or play a practice match and suddenly have that new technique ingrained. It's easy to make a change in technique. It's very difficult to make it a habit. And habits come from using progressions, from being very disciplined with what you're working on, and focusing on whatever you're working on in every individual shot. It takes work, but it's going to be worth it. If it helps you improve your game, you're certainly going to enjoy playing tennis more. So use progressions like the ones you saw in this video, and I can assure you that you will at some point, whether it's a week or a couple months, you'll be able to make that technical change a habit, and it'll help you be a better tennis player. So thank you so much for watching. I really enjoyed making this video, as I always do. And once again, please subscribe, give me a like, and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on next week's video. And I look forward to seeing you next time.